Welcome to Talking Giants presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Penik. And we've got ourselves a mail bag, a bag full of mail. We're going to talk about Daniel Jones versus the Dolphins. Was he good? Kinda. Play calling issues, blah, blah, blah. Justin, how are you as we get ready for the Buffalo Bills?
O-line, blah, blah, blah. Bobby Johnson, Brian Dable, blah, blah, blah. Who we gonna trade? Trade deadline's October 31st, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Bobby Skinner. I found it to be very funny. We don't really have a mailbag question about this. And I do want to read these articles to see if there's any similarities. I found it to be very funny that 3 Giants beat reporters put out 3 Daniel Jones pro-propaganda pieces all at the same time. We are at that point of the year where we are doing this. It is the beginning of October.
I forgot to check Patreon. Who do we have? They did change the site. Oh my gosh. You know who's a new Patreon, Justin? Nico Risen. He's got a question in here. He's a big
Oh my gosh.
He has the most volume. He has like the best hit rate of mailbag questions. We got
best hit rate.
Joe Giglio. What up? Yo, Joe Giglio. And that's it. Justin, who are these people?
These wonderful people. They went on their phones. They went on their computers. They went on their tablets. Does anybody have a tablet anymore? Patreon.com/TalkingGiants. That's what they plugged into the URL. And they're like, I love these guys so much. I'm going to give them $2. Or, you can even go to the World Beater tier, give a little bit more. And you get to hang out with us live while we record the shows. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers in the mail. He'll do that when he gets back from España. And there's a couple shirt raffles a couple times a month. Patreon.com/TalkingGiants. Thanks to our patrons. We love you.
Is the internet really bad in the office right now? It's like brutal right now.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It might be bad. That's a good possibility. Producer Steve says as he's coming in hot.
All right, well, take
it away, Steve.
Take it away, Steve.
What's going on, guys?
Not you, Steve.
Mail time.
Mail time. The mail's here. Come on. Bye, guys.
Here's the mail. It never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
Thanks, Steve from Blue's Clues. Justin, let's get into the mail. Keep all that in, by the way.
Jeff, our typical producer, Jeff, is sick today. So we have Sales Steve, and it's like an inside joke of John Wood Media that Sales Steve does not work in sales. He works in finance. So Steve just got confused that Bobby was trying to toss it to him and not Steve from Blue's Clues. Bobby, the first question is coming from Gridiron Guru.
Put in the Blue's Clues thing after I say, not you, Steve, and then put the music in.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
And then we'll go.
That's what we're going to do. Gridiron Guru at Gridiron Guru. After watching the old 22, what was your thoughts on Daniel Jones versus the Dolphins, Bobby Skinner?
He did a lot of good things versus the Dolphins, Justin. But here's the thing is, the next question about play calling and stuff, I think we'll get a little deeper into like season-long issues. But overall, I thought he did good things versus the Dolphins, right? Like that throw to the sideline on Waller, like that was the alert, which is essentially like most times it's not part of the progression, but if you got the look you got, throw it, right? And he threw it. And that's how you get, you can create big plays if defenses start playing on your concepts. Like the safety kind of played down and would have shut down the Giants' concept that they were trying to run. So throw the alert, which Daniel Jones has not thrown the alert a ton of times. Made the right decision with the ball essentially every play, right? But you also, after 4 games before this, I don't come away from this game as like, victory lap for Daniel Jones people, right? Because the issue is that this defense that the Dolphins run and Vic Fangio runs plays the Daniel Jones strengths, which is kind of giving you the easier throws and some of their concepts, right? Where it's not like other teams where it's like, hey, you gotta throw the deep one in that. So it's not a big victory lap, and I want to talk about like how they're going to call the offense in our next question. But I did want to come back on this podcast and say he did play pretty damn well. He hit that ball to Darren Waller on the little curl, stick and go. The only 2 bad plays I thought Daniel Jones had were 2 throws to Wandale. The one missed the Wandale that everyone remembered. But the next drive, it was a 3rd and 13. And they get an empty. Wandale has a slant. And Wandale might have put this in the end zone, but it definitely would have had enough yak for a first down. He throws it slightly behind him. Wandale has to turn his body and has to fall to catch it and misses on that. But overall, decision making was really good for the most part. But again, that is what I almost said Denver Broncos. That is what the Vic Fangio Miami Dolphins defense allows you to do. So it played to his strengths, and it also did what it is created to do, is to hey, you're going to have mistakes, and those mistakes in this game were sacks and bad runs.
Were you able to look back at that 3rd and 6 in the third quarter where I thought it was a little bit of another bad throw to Wandale Robinson where he falls down short of the sticks? Were you able to look at that and see if there was somebody running open down the field like I thought on the game recap pod?
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't? Okay. So that's another, stop taking screenshots. Stop taking screenshots and saying that guys are open down the field. Stop.
Now I need to go back and look at that one now. That was one where there was pressure and he threw to Wandale on the little drive route, right? Really shallow.
Yeah, it felt similar to the miss earlier in the game where if you hit Wandale in stride, it may be a first down.
Yeah, that one was with that play got rushed. He was under a lot, or he was getting hit on that throw. A guy coming down the barrel on that one.
And this is the unfortunate thing about Jones is that we're saying, he played well, and dude, it's just unlike the Seahawks game where I thought Jones took a lot of those sacks on his own. He was responsible for a good amount of them. This was a game where the line just makes the offense inoperable, like we're saying with the Cowboys game, the 49ers game. It's unfortunate, but I will say a positive thing from Daniel Jones this game, talked about it a little bit in the post-game pod, didn't turn over the ball, so that's a positive thing, right? No turnovers. An average depth of target of 7.1, which, hey, that's still in the 27th percentile, but man, it's an improvement over the 3 average depth of target, 4 average depth of target we've seen over the last few weeks. And with that average depth of target of above 7, he had a CPOE of 6.6, which is in the 76th percentile. So he was accurate with the ball. He's completing a ball at a higher expectation than what he's expected to. So, for what he was asked to do and for what the opportunities presented to him, he played well. And it sucks that we're saying, the quarterback played well, yet the offense didn't score a touchdown in the game. Bobby, you're muted.
The way it's different than other games is that Dallas and San Fran, even in Arizona, when you can include the first half, there was a lot of plays left on the field by DJ, even though there wasn't the active game destroying plays like there was in Seattle. But if he played at this level versus Seattle, they win that game. If he plays at this level versus Dallas and San Fran, they play better, but they don't win the game.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you, because you said if he played this level against Seattle, that they would win the game. Was there any key differences in what Seattle was doing defensively and then what Miami was doing defensively with Vic Fangio? Because I feel like that's a key factor in this, where the average depth of target is 7 yards against Miami, and then it's 3 yards against Seattle. What were the differences there?
I mean, Denver, or I keep saying Denver because Vic Fangio.
Sure.
Vic Fangio
should still be there.
Vic Fangio gives you the reads that DJ likes, where Seattle, forced DJ to process a little more and hang in the pocket a little more and not bail from clean pockets, and he didn't do that. So that's why
I would say that's the main difference. That's the main difference, that Miami was willing to give Daniel Jones the things that maybe he's good at, and to process things, versus Seattle didn't let him process that. So that's where you can say, well, if he played this same level that he did last week against Seattle, you win the game. But Seattle made it harder for him to be successful because of Daniel Jones's deficiencies. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it does. But I mean, he also threw the alert to Waller.
Do more of that. Give your guys chances to make plays.
Yeah, so you need some more of that stuff. But why don't we get into the next question, because we could talk about this more big picture with DJ.
It's continuing with some offense stuff. Andy Hadaz at Hadaz 5511. Do you
You
blame?
remember when the Utica Comets were following us and liking like Simple Man Radio tweets, and
Yeah.
I was like, I want to drop the puck. Well, that was Andy Haddaz, who was
Oh, what's up?
yeah.
up, Andy?
I still want to be like an honorary guest for the Utica Comets.
It's a race between if Bobby Skinner's going to drop the puck first in a hockey game, or if he's going to absolutely just curl hop a first pitch at a baseball game. What did you say?
Crow hop. We learned that from the Brandon
that's right.
Jacobs episode last year.
Damn it! Was that a Rickyism?
No, I thought it was curl hop, and it makes sense because you kind of curl into the throw.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a Ricky. It made sense. It kind of is a Rickyism. But when I said curl hop, when I talk about Brandon Jacobs throwing the ball into the shot clock when he was on the podcast, got a lot of people correcting it, and I was like, man, I thought that it was curl hopping because you're kind of curling into the throw. Anyways,
well, Andy asks, do you blame any of the play calling for the lack of success on offense? If so, when or should Dable take over play calling?
It would have to get ugly for me to be like Dable take over play calling. I think that's a desperation move most of the time. Like they're on the same page with stuff, right? They're putting in the game plan together. This isn't a Joe Judge versus Jason Garrett type of situation.
No.
And I'll be honest, I really like the play calling versus Miami, right? They fixed some of their flaws, right? They protected the backside versus play action, made an emphasis to do that. Whether it was keeping the, having the back, adjust to blocking that or keeping the tight end longer, right? And teams were driving on some of their quick game. They tried some double moves. Like that Waller, I didn't even realize it. It was a double move on a little stick and go. And they also tried, and Miami didn't fall for it at all, like a curl and go with Hyatt and Slayton, right? So they tried some of that stuff, and they targeted their best player, Darren Waller, 11 times, right? We said, hey, you got to run the ball, hopefully for some success, but just to stop teams from being able to tee off on this pass protection. They handed the ball off 22 times. But here's the issue, Justin, is that there is a personnel deficiency with the New York Giants right now, and it starts with all the offensive line. Without Andrew Thomas, man, it makes it so difficult to run things. We've seen DJ be able to operate a pocket with as long as his blind side's taken care of, he can deal with, for the most part, with a bad left guard through right tackle. Without that, he bails pockets early. It's a mess. And they just mess up too many plays, right? There's just too many big time plays that they are screwing up. Like the offensive line is really, really bad, and that is just going to make it hard for you. So without Andrew Thomas, and even with Andrew Thomas back, it's still going to be a bad offensive line.
Yep. Yeah, I'll revisit. No, go ahead.
They're trying to run the ball, but it's not going to be super successful without Saquon, right? Like they actually ran the ball fairly well early in the game. I really like Eric Gray, and then the Dolphins started run blitzing, and without Andrew Thomas and with you can't really run a lot of wide zone because Azudu's not going to get it on the outside like that, which Thomas was such a huge part of their success in that. So you're not able to run the ball as well, but even though you do need to run the ball. And here's the thing where I'm the most frustrated though. And I don't care if I just said all those nice things about the Dolphins game. DJ has had things that they pass up, that he passes up. And guess what? If this coaching staff is going to try and win games, they're not going to put those things on the menu. Like teams have adjusted to the quick game that Daniel Jones likes to operate. And what they've also done is they've aligned pre-snap to show you, hey, here's the quick game, bam, we're driving off of it. If you're running like 3-level concepts, we're taking off the shallow and the middle part of it. And DJ is not taking the shots. Okay, that didn't happen versus Miami because they didn't, the Miami gave you the reads that DJ likes. And so you can't run those all the time with this offensive line issues. So when you do run them, you have to take advantage of them. And DJ has not. When there's been times where he has had time to do it and make those throws, he just flat out has not done it. Also, DJ's been a little less accurate in the quick game than he has been in past years. So it's just for this offense to get back to operable, you need Andrew Thomas and Saquon Barkley back, right, to get to operable. But to take it to where even close to where our preseason expectations were, DJ has to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. You have to play more aggressive because teams are adjusted to what you do well. And until you start taking advantage of those things, they're going to continue to do them. Now, I think this coaching staff is going to do some smart things to balance off of that, even despite DJ's weaknesses, right? You saw a couple double moves in this past game. I think you're going to see a little more of that. So they're going to throw some stuff in there that's like some pre-planned, like, hey, we're going to take this shot here, which DJ has been good at, but it's the post-snap processing where, hey, this safety plays this way, the linebacker plays here, hit it on the sideline type stuff that DJ hasn't done. And until Daniel Jones does start doing that stuff, I'm not going to believe that it's going to happen. And the coaching staff, they're not going to continue to call these plays if DJ's not going to pull the trigger on them, because they're just going to lead to negative plays that end drives.
Right. You were talking about running the ball. You said, they ran the ball 22 times. I will go back and I will give the caveat that 9 of those 22 runs, so that's almost half, 9 of those runs did come from 2nd and 7+, and it really was not successful at all. But again, the Giants have a personnel issue where it's like, well, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to take the sack on 2nd down, or do you want them to take the sack on 3rd down? It's basically pick your poison. But I will say they did throw the ball for success with 2nd and long. They had an 83% success rate plus 0.83 EPA per play, 5 out of 6 plays with a positive EPA. So they did throw the ball well in the 2nd down. So I will say, like, if there's like a coaching thing, and it's not really schematic, but it's just play calling and play decisions, it was that from the Dolphins game. But again, they're operating afraid of the sack, and they're operating afraid of the negative play. It's just a matter of when is it going to come. Is it going to come on 2nd and long because you can't do well on 1st down, or is it going to come on 3rd down because you can't pass protect long enough to complete a ball past the sticks and get yards after the catch? Here's what I will say, and this can maybe even transition us to the next question. The only thing with coaching right now is that there's just a huge lack of player development, and that's on both sides of the ball. It's on the offensive side of the ball, it's on the defensive side of the ball, and particularly it's on the offensive line. Like the lack of player development that we've seen, and Josh Azudu's playing tackle, so he's in a really tough spot. But this even goes back to camp. Josh Azudu, we've seen a lack of development there. We've seen obviously a lack of development with Evan Neal, and then Mark Lewinsky also got worse as a football player from his time with the Colts. So that's like the coaching thing. That's the tough pill to swallow.
And again, how does Dable handle a losing team that's going to have issues, right? Like, I have some concerns about coaching. I said it, Dable would have to commit crimes, and even then it'd be, what type of crimes were they for me to say fire Brian Dable after this year? Just because, one, I'm a patient person, and 2, and it's like, I'm not gonna fire the coach of the year because his quarterback's not doing the new things. His offensive line is god awful, and he's missing Saquon Barkley, right? And missing Andrew Thomas, like missing 2 big important players. So there's issues, right? Like, but to me, if you said, hey, we're a year and 5 games into a new regime, my worry would be way more with just the drafting ability of, and I would be way more on the GM than the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I'm giving, like, Joe Shane has to get 4 years for this to make sense. We cannot turn into the Cleveland Browns.
No.
All right, Justin. You got anything else on that?
No, I want to move to the next question. I'm going to skip a question because Nico Risen is asking us, can you read a good ad? So Bobby Skinner's taking a sip of water. I'm going to talk about the Farmer's Dog. The results of switching your dog's food from kibble to fresh, it can seem like magic. What movie is that from? But the Farmer's Dog doesn't use any sorcery or secret ingredients to make their fresh food, just science. Oh, science that I don't understand. But I'll tell you what, I've taken a look at that Farmer's Dog. It looks like chopped meat. I'm thinking, I thought about taking a nosedive into it. Farmer's Dog makes and delivers fresh, healthy dog food. It's developed by vets, nutritionally balanced and made from real, healthy ingredients to human food safety standards. So maybe I actually can eat it if I want. The Farmer's Dog also sends the food pre-proportioned, which is true, specifically for your dog based on their unique nutritional needs. Like I filled out a whole survey. It's like, what's Mikey's breed? What's his weight? What's his this? What's his that? And Farmer's Dog asking all these questions to make sure that they're sending Mikey the right stuff, that they're not giving him too much food, that they're not giving him too little food. They take care of it. They put in the work so your dog can enjoy some good food. Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/JohnBoy. Plus, you get free shipping. That's thefarmersdog.com/JohnBoy for 50% off. Bobby Skinner, you'll be glad you did. Mikey will be glad he did as well. Want to move to the next question?
Be glad you did, yes.
Doug I at Doug I3. With all of the injuries on the O-line, how do you feel about continuing to move Mark Lewinsky around? Even though he hasn't been great, wouldn't it be in everyone's best interest to keep him and Neal working together rather than bringing in guys like Lemieux, etc.? And then Jason Crownover at Jason Crownover asks, what's going on with Pugh? Is he going to play this week?
So I just want to talk about the offensive line alignment as there's more injuries and stuff. Do you play Josh Azudu after crying? Because he's not playing very well. His confidence is at an all-time low. Do you put Matt Parrott at left tackle?
I think it's more. I mean, forget Josh Azudu crying. I mean, the dude cares. He's in a really bad spot. He was already struggling.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, oh, he cried, bench him, but I'm saying like for his own good, it like he maybe needs to settle down a bit and go back to practicing guard.
Like I think it's a little worse that like he got, which this resulted in him crying, but like, hey, he got Daniel Jones hurt, and you know when you hear neck injury with Daniel Jones, it's the alarms go off, and it's the carpenter, and it's like you're out for the year, and like, dude, are you out for like your career? So I mean, I think that's like getting Daniel Jones and your quarterback hurt. I think that's like a little bit of a psyche thing. Yeah, Matt Parrott is a tackle. Josh Azudu is a guard, and he's a top 100 pick. Let the guard develop at guard.
Speaking of which,
he was going to play.
He's like really injured. Like, let's wait to publish this episode. Here's the thing. So I don't know what McKeithen's injury is, right? I think you do put Glowinski back at right guard, right? Because McKeithen is just not very good, and McKeithen is doing the wrong thing a lot of the times, right? Just like bad blitz pickup, bad stun ID. There's just a lot of stuff where it's just mental issues with McKeithen, where I don't think he's ready. And I think you put Glowinski maybe back at right guard. And if JMS is out, not if JMS is out, but Justin, where are you at with Justin Pugh? Because I think if he's anywhere near ready, put his ass in. Like, let's not waste any time. Like, if he's ready to go, put him. Like, if he's practicing in full pads today, put him in the game. Like, put him in. You can't do this Jalen Mayfield, like Jalen Moore. Like, just put freaking Justin Pugh in.
He needs to play. If the team gets a sense that he's coming off of an ACL, right?
Yeah, but he's been healthy for a little while.
He's been healthy for a little bit. Like, if you get the sense, you know, he did the media thing for a little while too. If you get the sense that the dude is mentally ready to go out there and play football, you have to play. And I think he will be an upgrade. Like, this isn't even me just being like, oh, Giants fan, former Giants, Justin Pugh, blah, blah, blah. I think he actually will be an upgrade, which isn't saying much to what we have right now, which is needed and necessary.
Yeah, though that's what I'm saying. You got to play him because, again, he is an upgrade because everything is so freaking bad right now. Like, this offensive line is really like unbelievably bad right now. So yeah, I think you got to put Pugh in there. Now, if JMS is back, then I think you put Pugh at right guard.
Yeah, for sure.
I think putting him next to Evan Neal would help out a lot. You know, with some of that stuff. I also think Pugh allows you to run some more zone stuff, which is if the Giants start getting a lot of run blitzes, like the Dolphins did a good amount of times, that he'll help versus that. So like there's so many different configurations because it's like they're so banged up. Like Thomas is banged up, McKeithen, Lemieux, JMS. There's so many guys banged up. But I think until JMS is back, you put Glow at right, Pugh at left, Bredesen obviously at center, and then if when James is back, Bredesen at left, Pugh at right. Yeah,
I agree. Pugh needs to play. 100%.
Right. All right, Justin, next question.
Oh boy, next question. It's October 10th.
I hate to unload the clip on this one so early, but there was.
You gotta.
It's just what it is.
You gotta. Calvin T. If you could trade any Giants player right now, who would it be?
So I put 3 players on here of conversations to have. If there's one that I think is an easy trade candidate, Justin, right now, who do you think it would be? I haven't seen anyone say this one, and I'm surprised.
You haven't seen anybody say this, so it's not Saquon Barkley, even though like the money would be easiest to move. Can I say Xavier McKinney and not be a dick?
No, I think it's Kansas City Chiefs specifically who love our receivers. Paris Campbell.
Oh, okay.
He's got the 6 most snaps. They're trying to play Shepard more. Wandale looks much better than him. I think Paris Campbell seems like the easiest trade candidate on this team. Now, you're not going to get much back for Paris Campbell. Maybe it's like a pick swap. But Kansas City, with their wide receiver issues, I can see that definitely being another trade target. We just trade receivers for the Chiefs every single year under Joe Shane. But Paris Campbell, to me, seems like it's the one that no one's talking about, but it's the easiest one. It's the easiest money to move, essentially. He's done he has a good draft profile, missed games, and then last year was very productive, and this year hasn't had the same production, but he is like a talented player. So Paris Campbell to me seems like an easy one.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. 1-year deal, whatever, very incentive based, and he's not going to get those incentives. And I don't even know how that works do the incentives go over to the Chiefs? I was thinking of a little bit more of a bigger swing because I think you can get I think like the Giants and the Chiefs could work out a deal for Paris Campbell for a 6th-round pick, and I'm feeling great. Like, awesome, cool. I was talking about, like, hey, maybe a guy that we can get a 4th or a 3rd from, and I'm going, like, a little bit more of a bigger swing, like some of the bigger players we have in this roster. Paris Campbell doesn't even, like, scratch my brain as, like, a guy that's on this roster right now.
So you brought up McKinney.
Yeah.
As much as McKinney annoys the shit out of me, and he's not playing great, I still am not trading him for like a 4th-round pick, though. Like, it'd have to be a high 3rd, and no one who has a high draft pick is trading a 3rd-round pick for Xavier McKinney. Like, as much as I have complaints about McKinney, you're probably not replacing that with that draft pick. And we talk, well, he's a pending free agent. Maybe if he's unrealistic and you've had those talks and you're like, this group is unrealistic and they're going to force us to either tag or he's going to just hit free agency. Like, McKinney's not going to garner some big deal. Like, what makes anyone think that McKinney's going to garner some big deal in free agency, especially the way safeties have been not getting money?
All right, so then here's the rebuttal. Like, if he's not going to garner a big deal where it's like, hey, the Giants could get a comp pick, and the Giants have a lot of cap space themselves this offseason, so, like, you can't bank on a comp pick from Xavier McKinney because they may spend themselves. So if the plan is to just let them walk, I don't know what they're thinking. They may still
don't let him walk. Bring him back. If he comes back on a decent deal, bring him back. Despite not everyone want it. Not everyone's going to be a cookie cutter personality. And even though there's stuff that annoys the shit out of me about McKinney, but it's not like crazy alarm. And he's not the player. He's not the type of player where it's going to be crazy alarming to you, anyways.
And he's not an awful player. Like, hey, he even forced the fumble this past week. He's
a good player. Right now, he's in a tough stretch, but he's proven to be a good player in the NFL.
He's not a great player. He probably views himself as like a top safety. He's not a top safety in the league. He's a good player.
No, but he's not going to get top safety money.
Right.
And I don't think the Giants are in a position to just let good players walk when they don't need to. So, again, if someone got crazy and offered me a 2nd-round pick, yeah, I would. But or maybe a high 3rd. Even then, it's like, I don't know if you're going to look back at that 3 years from now and be happy you did that.
All right. So who are the 2 other guys that you had on the list?
Well, the one other guy I said would Adore at the deadline because he's older.
A big cap hit.
Older. I could see a playoff team really valuing what he could bring to them. Yeah.
I mean, the only problem with like guys like Leo is too big of a cap hit.
Yeah, I don't see anyone wanting to do a big trade for Leo. But the way teams value corners and if they feel like they're a corner away, you could get a team that's pretty desperate, looking to make a run and throw a decent little pick at Adore more than you might realize.
I mean, we'll have time to talk about this too, but like I said, trade deadline's 3 weeks from now. Saquon Barkley.
I don't think this franchise is ever going to trade Saquon Barkley, even if he were to walk in free agency.
Okay.
And also, what team will give up something for an expiring contract? Saquon Barkley either.
If you feel like you're a running back away,
but teams are. It's on. If he had 2 more years left on this deal, absolutely. But I don't. What are you going to get?
Third.
Sorry, I'm not doing it. I value Saquon Barkley more than that. And he's going to get it I'm not doing that.
Okay. I'd think about it.
All right, next question.
Next question, Bobby, can you talk about something?
Well, instead of talking about 2 linebacker sets, we're going to talk about another week of football. And DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. Epic matchups. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of those new offers every game day this September. That's freaking beautiful, people. Football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code WORLD. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code WORLD. The crown is yours. Football today, I don't have to read the big disclaimer. And I am sad because I love it. Gambling problem code 100-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, HOPE is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. We have a Blue Hill Casino Resort, Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, LA. Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming sports resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. You'll be glad you did. Next question.
Research Rick, NYG fan in Charlotte. Regarding the interior linebackers, the Giants went into camp with Bobby Okereke, Darian Beavers, Gerard Davis, Micah McFadden. Davis went to the IR, and Isaiah Simmons was required on August 25th. Through 5 games, Wink has played 2 interior linebackers on 99% of snaps, way more than last year. Why is this a problem, or is it? And then I'm even adding this part of the question. Bobby Skinner, would you like to take your victory lap now with all the reporters telling you Wink Martindale doesn't run a lot of 2 linebacker sets?
Oh, dude, that got me so... And I think we had three reporters in the van for training camp when we were talking about linebacker. They're like, well, you don't... Wink doesn't really. He runs this up. And I'm like, no. He wants to run 2 linebackers. His linebackers suck. And even with that, last year, they played 2 linebackers the large majority of the time. It's one of those, it's the thing I always explain. It's like, I remember when Brian Dable came over and it's like, Giants ran no 10 personnel the last 2 years. Brian Dable ran the most in the NFL. It's like, it's 60 plays in 2 years. So, 3 times a game. 2 times a game, excuse me. Less than 2 times a game. So, anyways, here's the thing. I like this. I think the inside linebacker too has been a bright spot in the run game for the Giants outside of Arizona, where McFadden was missing tackles, had a bunch of miscommunications in coverage. I actually do think inside linebacker two has been a bright spot for them. I think the issues in the run game have been kind of outside of that. I think the defensive line front has been very good, but Okereke, he's just not processing elite, and it was kind of what held me back from being through the moon on his signing. Is like he doesn't process the way like Blake did, right? Where he just knows where to be at all times, and he plays a little slow into that. When he does know, he plays fast, and it's freaking awesome. And he's been very good in coverage, which we saw this past week. Better on the tipped interception than the actual interception. The actual interception, by the way, was a busted coverage, and it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. And then the DBs have been horrible in the run defense. The edge setting has been mediocre at best. Jahad Ward, whenever he's been on the field, has been a negative. Kayvon got beat in the edge a few times versus Miami. Azeez is obviously not that dude setting the edge, and he's injured again. I really think it's been kind of everything else besides inside linebacker 2 and the defensive line when it comes to the run defensive issues, Justin.
Giants are still like, I think 30th in rush EPA per play allowed. Now they've played some really good running teams. They've played some good offensive lines. That's the caveat. But we were coming into the year being like, one of the main priorities that this Giants team had this offseason is to stop the damn run. Signing Bobby Okereke, signing A'Shawn Robinson, signing Nacho. They didn't really add edge rusher depth, which is a little frustrating, especially looking back on it now. But the Giants' rush defense is still bad. Like, it doesn't even feel like they're third worst in the National Football League, at least on an efficiency standpoint. But they are. It's like I can't like dismiss what I'm seeing.
A lot of big plays happening out on the edges, right?
Yeah.
Like
the secondary is a huge part of it. I think the secondary is a huge part of it. And the secondary not being able in past years to come up and make plays, I think that's a huge part of it.
I've said that. The DBs have been horrible in run fees. Trey Hawkins got benched for it. Adore was really good in it last year. Moving him into the slot was a bad idea for the run defense. He doesn't fit in there. Deontay Banks doesn't get off blocks. McKinney has taken very bad angles in run defense. Penik has been pretty damn solid in run defense.
Yeah.
They also used Dane Belton as a big nickel this past week, which is like they went into those 3 safety sets, but they didn't take a linebacker off the field, which is, again, Wink wants to play 2 linebackers, even if he wants a third safety on the field. But I think that was more of just a Miami-specific game plan because they do so much. He also ran too high majority of this game, which he never does, and played from light boxes.
Tua.
But I criticize Okereke, but it's like still a lot better than Jalen Smith out there.
Yeah. It's just that he isn't as consistent as you would want your kind of bigger money linebacker to be.
Yeah, I'd like him to process, be a quicker processor and sniff plays out a little quicker. But like I think McFadden, again, outside the missed tackles, has been a bonus in the run defense, and even Isaiah Simmons, even though Isaiah Simmons isn't the fastest processor, his closing speed really can help. Like some of the best run defense plays versus the Dolphins were plays made by Isaiah Simmons. Even being a little late, he's just got that closing speed to really go in and make a tackle. And he's playing a little freer next, not being the number one linebacker, having a little less responsibility. So I actually think they've been good in there. But like Dane Belton, like he was. So one of my issues about Dane Belton, you mentioned DBs, and he only played 1 game. But I did observe this on film. One of my biggest issues of him coming out of Iowa is he was very hesitant in the box, and that showed up last year. He was like, he overcorrected, like where he was over-aggressive, and he was undercutting everything. Every single like outside run, he was undercutting and was not able to make plays on it. So, that was an issue. But I think inside linebacker too is like been the bright spot outside of the defensive line when it comes to the run defense.
Cordell Flott had himself a game, huh?
Yeah, dude, that pass breakup. It wasn't a pass breakup. It got on Tyreek Hill's fingertips. That was the best coverage anyone had on Tyreek all day. Now it was like cover 2 man where it's like, hey, you have just play inside leverage, but he played it way better than Banks did on the opposite side. Flott looks good in man coverage. We may have a guy who's I didn't come here to play practice type guy. Like I'm a game time player, which is real. I felt like I was one of those guys, to be honest. Hated practice, couldn't amp myself up for it, but in game time, my adrenaline's through the roof.
Yeah,
that
would be cool. That would be a nice consolation prize heading into next year. Is like, man, like Cordell Flott, like be a little bit of a player, man. Be a little bit of a player. And, again, we talk about the 2022 draft class, and I received a lot of flack and hate on Twitter yesterday for posting a little bit of a negative clip about the 2022 draft class. Be a little bit of a consolation prize of this year of like, hey, Cordell Flott, nickel, Deontay Banks, outside. At least we got 2 spots kind of figured out here, maybe. And then, looking to, replace for Adore, and whether that's Trey Hawkins or whatever. Steve, how long are we into this right now? 39 minutes?
Yeah, we got time.
I'm adding another mailbag question, and it's my mailbag question. Next question is coming from Justin Penik at Justin Penik. You spent like...
At Smoking Woody.
At Smoking Woody. Oh, stop. You spent like 5 minutes I think, on the O-line report. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. You spent like 5 minutes on the O-line report, and so has everybody else and their mother, trying to figure out who the hell's fault that sack was on, where Evan Neal didn't pick up the rusher that was rushing to the outside, and the clip that's going viral. I'm gonna be honest, like I'm like out. I like don't care about it. Like, people are breaking this down like crazy. I guess, like, let's put a bow on this, man. People are still talking about it. Talk to me about that play and what you found, because you literally, I think you talked about it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, check out the O-line report, because here's the thing, is whenever that type of thing happens, right, when a tackle takes the inside threat and leaves an edge rusher, O-line, so everyone's like, look at this dumb-ass moron, right? And then O-linemen get horny and be like, I get to tell everyone that they're the biggest fucking idiots in the world. They love it. They love it. And I get it. Like, it's fun to do, but O-linemen like it more than I think any other former position group. They love to tell you don't know shit, which a lot of times is true. And what they are explaining is 100% accurate. And they're saying the quarterback has to throw hot. And Shipley even said, hey, it's when you're blocking 5, the running back's out of empty, and they rush 6, well, someone's got to be the free rusher. You want the outside guy to be the free rusher. What they are saying is 100% true. Here's the issue. They didn't rush 6, right? And if Neal did the right thing, which what Neal was doing was that. And so I kind of tend to think they are right that Neal did that wrong. But then setting the protection like that, one, is stupid. And we can argue QB versus center. There's, like, the center sets it. Mike Kafka said in that space he did with Coach Vass. But the QB has final control of it. But setting that protection that way is, one, stupid. And two, if they did, Marcus McKeithen and Ben Bredesen screwed it up royally. So everyone's arguing, like, throw hot. It's 3rd and 9. You shouldn't have to throw hot when you have 5 versus 5, and it's not some exotic blitz either. And it's not like you have Wink Martindale lining up 6, 7 guys on the line and they're dropping 2 and you don't know which 2. That's a whole different story. This wasn't that. And so if Evan Neal did the right thing, then Ben Bredesen and Marcus McKeithen totally screwed it up. And let's forget that Glowinski and Zudu couldn't pick up the stunt on the other side. McKeithen screwed it up badly from the beginning of the snap, ruined that snap. So if Neal's doing the right thing, now we have, 2 guys essentially unblocked. So it was so frustrating to see people talking about that. And it's like, okay, but if Neal is right, like all these, and the clip that was going viral of it was only showing half of the other line. So yeah. I think they may have thought that 6 were being sent. So I'm not exactly sure. But just, again, watch the offensive line report, because it's a visual thing. But even if Neal did the wrong thing, his mind was in the right place. He's not just like, hey, edge rusher, don't need to block that guy. What are you guys thinking? So even if Neal was wrong, which is not acceptable, it's not just like, oh, they're stupid. Why block? It's like he was thinking the wrong thing. But I tend to think that, I don't know, because someone's wrong. So it's hard to tell you exactly who was wrong on that.
I've never seen such a...
And if you're saying Neal's wrong, you're saying 2 guys are wrong and Neal's the one that's right.
I've never seen such a pointless play be debated so much from a pointless game and a pointless loss, where the Giants offense literally didn't score a point, so they were pointless.
I kept quiet. People were asking me about it. I was like, I'm not saying shit until the offensive line report. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to give myself something to motivate me to do a good offensive line report.
And then I'll even two-parter. Evan Neal apparently had some improvements. Are you taking any stock into it? What did you say?
Well, the improvements are the things that has improved on throughout the season, and we've been saying he's improved on. He was just playing lesser competition than other games. So I don't look at the the issues. He has made technical improvements, and he's still losing by speed around the corner. Not this week versus Miami, because he was able to compete with those dudes. And he's also, like, his hands are coming in way too high, and he let the inside he got beat badly on the inside a couple times. Basically the only times they actually tried it. So the film was like, the result was solid for the most part, but the issues are the exact same issues that happened last week and the week before. But, like, he's getting out of his stance quicker. His first couple of steps are better. His hands aren't being used as, like, he's not over punching where guys can just chop hands, but the hands are coming in high. So they're the same improvements that we talked about from Dallas, Arizona, San Fran, but he played lesser competition this week.
Ready to move on to final question.
Final question.
Tucker Cherry at Tucker_Cherry_, not Giants related, but favorite Creed song.
Justin, have you ever listened to Creed at all?
I mean, not like I haven't like sat down and be like, yeah, I'm gonna like get into Creed, but I mean, I know the magic that is live at Arlington Stadium. Can you take me higher? I mean, I know like the magic of that song, the magic of like that.
Well, the
performance in that
Rangers
song.
are playing it, and they're winning games because of it.
Which is awesome.
I've gotten back into Creed a little bit for some reason. I don't know why, and then I see that. Also, my Instagram reel algorithm gives me all types of Creed reels, and some are just like good and some are funny. And I found out that Snacks, your boy, likes Creed as well. As well. So now I have someone to just send all those Creed Instagram reels, and they're very funny.
What I've been doing is every Monday.
I get why people hate Creed, but I still love them. With Ours Wide Open is a great song. Hold Me Now, that one. That one's a good song, man. Like, I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. That's a fucking lyric right there. People can make fun of it all they want, but
6 feet's a far fall. What I've been doing every Monday.
You're not getting the joke, or not the joke, the line. I'm 6 feet from the edge, from the ledge, but I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. 6 feet under means that's where they bury the.
Oh, fun. Well, that's how I feel inside. Can I?
You should listen to Creed, bro.
I'm listening to Creed. But every Monday after a Giants loss, I've been gravitating towards the women of country. This past Monday was the Chicks, Cowboy Take Me Away, and what's that other song, Steve?
I don't know.
Is Steve on mic?
Steve's on mic.
I am on mic. I just I'm trying.
Steve,
to talk.
they do that like employee spotlight. Me and you were both camp guys.
Yeah, big camp guy.
Camp's
Love,
good.
camp's great.
I feel like you're a hate Creed guy though.
No, I don't hate Creed. Creed's fine.
Okay.
They exist. There's nothing wrong with them.
Wow, they exist.
It's similar to Nickelback. Nickelback gets a lot of unnecessary
don't
hate.
put them in the same sense.
Well, they sound very similar if you really.
Creed just ages really badly.
Yeah.
Which a lot of that early 2000s, late 90s music ages so badly.
Absolutely. Like if you go back and listen to it,
not that it's bad, but it's like those guys, like you just can't sing those songs when you're like in your 40s and 50s. It's just like a very like late teens, early 20s. You can sing those songs into your 30s a little bit, and after that, it's like when you're doing concerts and stuff. It's like, man, you shouldn't. Like, who was I? I saw was doing a concert the other day, and it's like, man, you're. Do you know Sum 41, Steve?
Yeah. I just went to a Blink-182 concert.
Yeah, well, it's like Sum 41. It's like, how do you sing Fat Lip when you're? What are those guys like 45, 50 years old now?
Yeah, like
how do you sing those songs still?
Yeah.
So, but I saw the Rangers did the Creed thing, and I was like, that would literally get me to go to games if I knew we got to sing Creed with the players. That would get me 2 games.
I agree.
So thank you for that question, Tucker Cherry.
That's a Giants mailbag.
All right, we'll be back Friday with the preview. We got Buffalo Bills, and we're doing our first preview interview of the year. With our friends from Cover One. Again, I've kind of changed that into like, unless I really want to talk to you, we're not going to do that because I've been going a little harder in like film and stat preparation for those.
Can they just do the first half of the show, and then Danny and the three of us, we just do like I don't want to preview the Bills game. I'll be honest.
We'll see. All right, that's an episode. We will see you Friday for said Bills preview. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, Rick Beelman said, you didn't take my question in the direction I thought. Misallocation of free agent resources, reach stronger inside linebacker 2. Why so few third and long sub packages? Less confidence in DBs. Lots of ways to go. Oh, okay. Well, I still want to end the show, so sorry, Rick. Appreciate you guys. We'll see
We'll
you
revisit
Friday.
it.
Until then, let's go Big Blue.